Hi everyone, welcome to today's class. Hope you are doing good. In this class, we are going to explain some ways to analyze the balance sheet, easy ways, okay, by using ratio. So we are going to focus on three key areas. What is liquidity, financial strengths, and how well the business is being managed. Okay, and next we're gonna move on balance sheet. Okay, so in this, the balance sheet statement of a financial position of a company. See at a specific point that time. So it is a specific point time, whereas the income statement is a period of a time. Sometimes this balance sheet referred to as a statement of net worth. So because it does show the equity value and net worth of the business. Okay, here is a sample balance sheet. Okay, the first thing you will notice December 31, 2011 and thousands in dollars. Okay, so you will need to notice two sides, assets and liability sides. Okay, so the balance needs to balance, which means the value of total assets and value of total liabilities should be equal. Okay, if this balance sheet if this balance sheet does not tally equally, there is something wrong with the financial statements. Okay, so if the balance sheet doesn't balance, that means there is something wrong with the financial statements. Okay, so now we are going to look at each section of a balance sheet. So first we are going to look at assets. Okay, assets. So in this we have to see current assets. So what are the current assets in that? Cash, marketable securities, account receivables, and easily you can find. Okay, if you don't know the current assets types and all, they have given a total current asset, means these all total current assets. So these all comes under current assets. Okay, as per the current liabilities, same thing, total current liabilities they have given. So these all comes under current liabilities. So these current assets include cash, marketable securities, accounts receivables, inventory, prepaid expenses, other current assets. Okay, so then liabilities include accounts payable, current on LT debt, means long term debt. Long term debt they have given, but it's a current portion. It is a certain portion which we have to settle in short term, okay, within a 1 year. So this is current, they have given a current, so it included in a current liabilities. And tax payable, accrued expenses. Okay, these all current liabilities. So this is the main thing. Okay, then next is long term assets. Okay, long term assets. After the current assets are long term assets. So these are the items. See the total current assets, which it also included in a long term. Okay, gross value, accumulated depreciation, net worth of plant. Okay, and note receivables. So these all total current assets. Sorry, total assets. Okay, long term assets. So total assets equal to current assets plus long term assets, which is equal to total assets. And for liabilities, the others are liabilities. Accounts payable, these all we already seen. Okay, so for stockholders, shareholders, okay, same thing, same meaning. So stockholders equity is a total, common stock and paid up capital, retained earnings, this total to total shareholders equity. So that is 4203. Okay, so total liabilities and equity. So then next we move on the beginning of a balance sheet analysis. Okay, so how the balance sheet analysis will be, the beginning way, how the liquidity we gonna calculate by the ratios. Okay, so first we move on current ratio. So current ratio we already know, current ratio equal to current assets divided by current liabilities. Okay, so this is then done. They have given a total current assets and total current liabilities, so this is equal. Okay, so current ratio equal to 6670 divided by 1839, means current assets by current liabilities, which is equal to 3.69. Okay, so in accounting textbooks, okay, so in accounting textbooks they will tell you that a current ratio should be 2, okay, or higher, which should be an indicator of a company they have a sufficient liquidity. So here we got 3.63. So it is higher than 2 or higher. Okay, so it's higher than 2. So this is one key that measures our liquidity. So this company is having sufficient liquidity, this 3.63. Okay, and the next one is a quick ratio. Please note down your notes, pause this video and take notes. Okay, it will be useful for you. Then for quick ratio, other than current assets, so quick ratio means quick assets by current liabilities. Okay, so quick ratio equal to quick assets by current liabilities. So quick assets which included liquid current assets which we can transfer into a cash within a 3 months or a 6 month, within a certain period, within a 90 days, 3 months. Okay, 3 months, within a 90 days if we can transfer into amount or a cash, okay, which we can transfer through cash. So this is mean liquid current assets or quick assets. So which include cash, marketable securities, accounts receivable. Okay, for liabilities same thing, total current liabilities. So this is quick ratio equal to cash 481 plus marketable securities 1346 and plus account receivable 1677 divided by the current liabilities are 1839 and the answer is 1.91. Okay, so in this by according to that basically a ratio of 1. Okay, the current liquid asset, sorry, the liquid current assets or a quick assets should be 1 or higher. So which shows adequate liquidity for the most companies. So it has 1.91. So it's a more than 1. So the company has a adequate liquidity. Okay, and the next one is debt to equity ratios. Debt to equity ratios equal to total debt divided by equity. Okay, that is the formula. Fine. So then see here, this is the formula, long term by equity we have to follow. Total debt divided by equity, that is the formula. Okay, so they have started first long term debt divided by shareholders equity, that is 2332 divided by 4203, so equal to 0.55. Okay, so according to this, this long term debt is divided by the shareholders, which is 0.55, so which is excellent. So when we look at the total debt, we have got the short term debt too. So that is a current position long term debt. So this is also debt. So by this we have to include this into total debt. Long term debt plus current portion long term debt divided by total shareholders equity. Okay. So this is long term debt 2332 plus current portion 1021 divided by shareholders equity 4203. So this is equal to 0.80. Okay, so and this is a time the ratio is higher because it's 0.8. So but it's still well below 1. So the financial strength of a company looks solid. So they don't have the 1. Okay, so first debt equity ratio equal to total debt divided by equity ratio. Okay, we just followed total debt divided by equity ratio by long term by shareholders equity, that is 0.55. So we need 1 to make a company well, to run a company well for a debt. Okay, so we need a 1. So after that the short term debt which we left, so we included this debt to this, then the total equity is 0.80. Next one is interest coverage ratio. So see, we want a ratio above 1. Okay, so which indicate that operating profit is more than interest expenses, so which is usually something 5 to 7 is considered very healthy. Okay, so for this company they have very little interest expenses. So how much interest expenses is it? Is 10. Okay, so operating profit is 752. So interest coverage equal to operating profit divided by interest expenses. So the operating profit is 752 divided by interest expenses is 10. So this is equal to 75.2. Okay, so this 75.2. So for the company they have interest expenses only 10 rupees. So it is 75.2. So this is extremely healthy. Okay, if the interest expenses is 100, okay, so then the answer will be 7.52. Though this is also very healthy because the profit more than an interest expenses, and usually something 5 to 7 is considered very healthy, right? So it is a 7.52 if it is 100 interest expenses. So this is also healthy. And the next one is return on equity. So return on equity means the formula for measure the profit on equity invested. We used to measure the profit which the equity invested. The formula for net income divided by shareholders equity. Okay, so net income, that is they have given 397 sorry, divided by shareholders equity, the total amount of equity 4203. So that is equal to 9.45%. So that is in today's market with a low inflation or a high risk. Okay, people are very happy with that 9% return. As with the other ratios, it would be goal to compare to return on equity as other companies in the same line of a business. So how we get the information on the companies in the same industry is a financial statement analysis. So that if it is a 9% also, the people are very interested and happy. So we have got a 9.45 sorry 9.45%. So this is healthy for the company. The next we move on, return on assets. So this is to measure profit on all capital invested. We have to measure the profit on all capital which we invested with the shareholders investors. So that is return on assets equal to net income divided by total assets. So here total assets equal to current assets plus long term assets. Okay, so total assets in the balance sheet below we have seen, because the total liabilities and total assets should be in equal, right? So this is a total asset amount. Okay, so net income divided by total assets, which is equal to 4.74. Okay, so the return on equity is impacted by the debt to equity ratio, which is specific company. So the return on assets ratio, which eliminate the impact of a source, which regardless if it's debt or equity, or to measure the management efficiency. That is why it is good to look at both ratios with the comparing companies. Okay, so and we get the return on assets is 4.74. This is impacted by the debt to equity of a specific company. This is good for the company. And the next one is inventory turnover. So which means the management of inventory. Inventory means stocks. Okay, the opening or a closing, that doesn't matter. The stocks, total stocks, the management of stocks. So that is the formula, inventory turnover equal to cost of goods sold divided by inventory. That is a formula. Okay, so then cost of goods sold is 9905 divided by inventory amount 2936. So that is 3.73. Okay, so which means that the company sells its inventory 3.73 times in a year. So some people prefer to look at this number of days so that something is in inventory. So to see that, we divided by 365. So 365 days divided by 3.73. Okay, so and the result was 108 days. So which means that it takes an average 108 days to sell the inventory. So there are several other ways to modify the calculation, which is discussed in the financial statement analysis. So the best way to understand if the resulting number is a good or bad is to compare with the other companies in the industry. That is good. 108 days is good. Okay. So next we move on, accounts receivables days outstanding. So by this, which we wanna see means DSO, which is day sales outstanding. How will they manage the receivables? How the potential collections problems? Okay, these all three we have to find. So by this, account receivables days outstanding equal to accounts receivable divided by sales. Okay, that is a sales mainly. Then it is a days. See, that is a days outstanding. So that we are multiplying 365 in that. If it is a leap year, 366. Okay, so into 365. Then account receivable is 1.667 divided by the sales value is 11892 into 365, which is equal to 51.5 days. Okay, so in this, the total sales of 11,892 Okay, so and multiply the number of 365, which gives 51.5 days. So which means 51 and a half days. For this company, it takes an average of 51.5 days to collect the sales, collected sales. And the next we move on, account payable days outstanding. So this is to use how fast they pay their bills, how fast they pay their bills. This is also days, DAOS, okay, days. So that we have to include the 365 in that formula. So that is accounts payable divided by, it is a payable, okay, so which is divided by cost of goods sold. Okay, for sales we have entered a sales. After that we have to include the cost of goods sold. Okay, how much the goods sold, the cost, total cost. So account receivable is 625 divided by cost of goods sold is 9905 into, it has given a days, so it is a 365, so which is equal to 23 days. Okay, so that the reason we use cost of goods sold instead of a sales in this calculation is which is a payable with a cost, okay, not a revenue for a companies. Okay, for companies where cost of goods sold is a small portion of a total operating expenses. So it may be better to use a cost of goods sold plus operating expenses as the denominator in the equations. So to calculate the standard ratio of this company, we have to find the same formula. Okay, 625 divided by 9905 multiply with the 365, so which gives 23 days. So the result is the payable outstanding days was 23 days. So which means they are very fast payer. So which the companies who are thinking about providing credit to the business, so should feel very comfortable with the numbers. Okay. So by this class is over. We'll see you all in the next class with the next topic. Take care all. Thank you. Please pause this video and note the equation sums and all in your notes, which will be useful for you. Okay.